Hi and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways. My good friend James Goodman is doing the rounds in Cape Town, in the manner of speaking, and he's away till the Met, so he's going to be in a good time. He's been at the sales, and I've brought another good friend. Dees, thanks very much for joining me.
Always a pleasure, Lef, being on the show, and looking forward to today's show. We'll be covering the J&B Met, a big one. It's going to be an awesome week leading up to one of our premier race meetings on the calendar.
Now, whenever James is on the show, he loves to yap off about golf, but I believe I can talk to you about golf. This is the right time to talk to you.
Sure.
That you got a hole-in-one on the 18th at Kloof. Tell us about it.
Oh, unbelievable, Lef. Game wasn't going too good before that stroke of luck, but it was just an awesome feeling. My first hole-in-one, Lef, and undescribable. It's like backing 100 to 1.
What did you use? What iron?
I was a 6-iron, 176 meters. It was the perfect shot, Left, 1 in a million.
He says modestly. There we go. Wonderful. A hole-in-one. I've never got near to one of those, so it'll keep you playing golf. I believe you're playing with the journalist?
Yeah, with David Thistleton. We always try and hook up and have a game together. And
what's he like?
Yeah, he's a consistent, steady golfer, consistent, ideal better ball partner, Left.
Is that right?
Yeah, and James Goodman, I've challenged him a few times.
Yeah.
David Thistleton and myself against James and whoever he wants, but James never pitches. Left.
Don't let him ring the cock. The cock's a good player. Yeah. Sure. Saki can play.
Sure.
All right, let's get straight into 3 to follow. Right, 3 to follow this week. We pulled 2 out of a midweek meeting at the Vaal. We saw some very good horses stepping out there, and we pulled one at Clarewood. And the first one we're going to talk to you about is a Mambo in Seattle horse that ran. And it was a filly that stepped out for Paul Peter, and the talk was that this was a flying machine. Dees, you managed to watch the race, beaten at the start possibly?
Yeah, it looks that way, Left. There was money for this horse, Saftoed favorite, but was going up against a horse that had experience, and I think it told in this race.
Yeah, one of the 3 to follow. Let's go and have a look at the horse that we picked out. It's called Mystic Express. It'll be down the inside. And the winner, there's Mystic Express, Dees, walks out the gate. That's
walks out the gate. I think that's where the race was lost, because the talk was there, the money was down, as I mentioned, Saftoed favorite. And the favorites already on its bicycle Left, as you would say.
Yeah, they were. And then Farney Chambers rides for Cornet Speece. And we made this one of ours to follow Cornet's girl, who'd run second to Kiss Me Hardy. Strangely enough, he goes towards the outside fence in those English Arcus colours and decides, hang on, I've got this horse beat. My dangers could be down the inside. And this is where Mystic Express is in the pink.
Yeah, Mystic Express seems to stay down the inside, but the winner runs all over the course. The inside running a rail, then the outside, now moving back onto the inside. And wins a good race, but I think he picked up a nice horse here. The fact that there was money for this horse and beaten by the experience of Cornet's Species horse's runner, I think a good pick here, Left. I think this could be one to follow. And a nice debut here from the Paul Peter runner. You mentioned Mambo in Seattle, so that stands at Motonzuk, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
So well done to Chris Kerber and the team. And Chris is having a fantastic run with his horses at the track, Left.
Yeah, no, I was speaking to Benny, his partner, and they like me of the thinking that it'll take a bit longer to come out. So they were amazed that this horse had come out this early, being by Mambo in Seattle. But it augurs well. You've got a lot of speed, and I think a little uptight, the horse, but I think second time out better at the gates will be a tough horse to beat. That's Mystic Express. Then on the same day, we found another very good horse, and this is a horse that there were 2 backed in the race, and they ran 1-2. The 2 backed in the race were Chris Fanico horse called Olive Leaf, a beautiful horse, and What a Lady is the other horse that got backed as well. You'll see from our circle around the horse that it has no start as well. Here it is now. This is What a Lady.
Yeah, from stallgate number 3, very slow away, Left, very slow. Stanley Ferreira teaming up with Martinez Mini there. And of course, the winner is in the Chris Van Nick Axels for Sean Terry, Gavin Arena up. See, the Saftoed favorite was What a Lady. very slow away left, and it was always going to battle from there.
Yeah, it runs a very good race. When you have a look at Olive Leaf, I was sitting watching this race with Sean and Chris down in Cape Town at the sales, and he said to me, this is a very, very nice horse, this Olive Leaf filly. She's moving up comfortably, and a long way out you could see this was going to win. Gavin Lorena's asked it to run, but note the effort from the runner-up, What a Lady, coming on now.
Yeah, just you can see the race is won now left. So it's a matter of what's going to be running second. A few horses that you can make a case for at that stage in the race, but the best of them was definitely this horse called What a Lady. Also very green left, hanging towards the outside, and I see Martinez Mini trying to keep this horse on a straight course, and does finish best of the rest, which is very encouraging.
The third horse finishes 9 lengths beyond the winner, just to put it into perspective. So Sparkling Davies by both of them, and be with What a Lady next time out. The third horse we're going to show you comes from Scottsville on Sunday, where Charles Laird stepped out an Australian horse called Rich Girl D's, and the comment was, this is not tuned up, and I think that's what beat it. It just ran out of steam, and the experience of a little black number comes to beat it. But a beautifully bred, good-looking horse called Rich Girl. Let's go and have a look, Dees. You'll see it here. It runs a cracking good race in Marcus and Ingrid's colours. There it is. Looks like Trap 2 with the nose band. And it gets rolling, as Arthur Marcus likes to get his horses to do. It gets rolling. The favourite in this race, all the rage, is Garden Treasure, who doesn't go onward and runs third. Your eventual winner has got his head sideways in the orange colours.
When I watched the race live, left, I thought that Rich Girl would be hard to beat. But when we watched the replay together, this horse that came to win it, Little Black Number, was really travelling well behind. But a good debut by this Aussie import. You can see the winners in the orange silks just behind the runner-up. But Anton Marcus seems to be doing it well up until this stage left.
Yeah, his time he's run. Arthur's glanced across as they come to the final 2 furlongs, and he's seen that Stu Randolph's under pressure on the favourite. Robbie Hill's first time is running a very good race too. That's September Storm. But here looks Rich Girl home and hosed, and the winner, the experience of the winner comes through late.
Yeah, Arthur just with the hands, and now he sees a challenge coming up, so he just tries to get a bit more from his horse, but he's beaten now with 100 meters to go left. And this horse, Little Black Number, if I remember correctly, was very slow away on debut, but put in a quick time, 400 to finish. And the fact that this filly jumped on terms, was not too far off. Second time up, she showed that first run, 400 to finish. She repeated that, so it was a good win for Duncan Knowles, but a nice horse to follow, Rich Girl, and I don't think 1,000 meters is going to be her trip left.
No, beautiful filly, and as Charlie said, she'd get tired, she got tired, so bear those 3 in mind: Mystic Express, What a Lady, and Rich Girl. Let's go on to our next segment, which is Blast from the Past.
Blue Ridge Mountain is loaded up, taken hold of Hammy's hooker. Hurricane Katrina is in, Thunder Dance, now Frequent Flyer in the yellow. Cash Register, Beloved Betty. Jet Aglow, the next one to load, followed up by Razzle Dazzle Rose. Reflective Image. Halfway to Heaven. Now 3 left. All His Secrets, the first of those. She goes in. Bambino Stripes loads with a blindfold, turns away at the first attempt. Goes up this time and goes in. Happy Archer to complete the lineup for the Clava Flame Majorca Stakes. They're all set, ready to race. Grade 1, 1,600 meters. and racing away to a perfect beginning. All His Secret along the inside, landed running, goes up to lead. Viva Maria, Razzle Dazzle Rose is pushing past them all on the far side and is up to look for the lead as they go down to the 1400. It's Razzle Dazzle Rose setting a decent pace, is out by 2. Viva Maria settled back in second. They followed by Cash Registers, moving up around runners to improve her position. Thunder Dance is also caught deep outside of horses, but goes up to race handy. Blue Ridge Mountain just in behind these, and All His Secret after that alert start has dropped back through the field and settles 5 lengths off them. Jet Aglow is on the move around runners, but races 3 deep on that turn. They being followed then by Butterfly Girl, the white cap, who's back at the fence and 6 to 7 lengths off them. Happy Archer is just along her outside. Beloved Betty 3 deep outside of those. Halfway to Heaven races next, 7, 8 lengths off this leader. Hammy's Hooker is racing just in behind that. Further back to Reflective Image. Frequent Flyer is racing back 1 from last, and Bambino Stripes sees them all as they turn in the straight with 600 meters left to go. Viva Maria brought the field for home, has the lead by a length and a half to Cash Register up on the outside, and Razzle Dazzle Rose. They followed then by Hurricane Katrina back towards the inside. Jet Aglow is making steady progress up to the outside. Hammy's Hooker is also starting to weave her way through horses from the back of the field. Viva Maria is still in front, but Jet Aglow now comes alongside. Razzle Dazzle Rose, Blue Ridge Mountain and Hammy's Hooker are both in pursuit. It's wide open now, up towards the inside. Razzle Dazzle Rose, Blue Ridge Mountain now puts her head in front. Hammy's Hooker and Frequent Flyer is charging home from the back, but Blue Ridge Mountain is at the front. Frequent Flyer is coming strongly. Blue Ridge Mountain does just enough from Frequent Flyer. Hammy's Hooker was back in third. They were followed by Jet Aglow, Razzle Dazzle.
Well, there we go. Blue Ridge Mountain. What a great ride from a deep draw by Arthur Marcus.
Yeah, I think that's the reason this horse started off at 6 to 1 left, because she was touted as a very good filly up in Joburg with the Alexanders, sent down to Joey, who took care of her. A fantastic filly. I think she's now abroad. I don't know exactly where she is, but a great race left and some big names behind her.
When you look through, I think there were 4 Group 1 winning fillies behind her in Thunder Dance, Viva Maria, Happy Archer, Bambino Stripes, very, very good. And Reflective Image in there, that one, I think was the Scepter Stakes the other day for the gang down there, Brett Crawford and the Jolliffs and the kids. So that was a very, very good race, and it looks like being a good race this year again.
Yeah, it is going to be. This is the year that Beach Beauty decided to go for the Met this year.
That's right,
you know, it would have been interesting if she went for this race. I'm not saying that she would have been a shoe-in, but she would have been right there. And this is the year where she's come back to this race. Yeah.
Yeah, well, having Master of My Fate, he's got a wonderful second string to his bow. Beach Beauty ran 3rd in the Met last year. Superb filly. And she's going to be hard to beat in this race this year.
Yeah, we're going to touch a bit more about that in current affairs. But well done to all the winning connections here. Gal Alexander, Anton Marcus, of course, Ingrid and Marcus Euster. And we'll also have to pay compliments for Joey Ramsden, because he was taking care of the
he got her there for the race. All right, that's Blast from the Bars. We'll be back in a moment with Plum of the Week.
Saruria is now starting to warm up on the outside, and here comes Saruria with a good-looking finish now. Nisa's Love, Fruitiana, but Saruria just swept into the lead the last 100. Fruitiana's running to the inside, but Saruria picked up the gallop to win going away. Saruria by just over 2. Very, very close. 2nd, 3rd and 4th, take your pick. Nisa's Love, Such Fun, or Fruitiana.
Well, there we go. Plum of the Week, Saruria, and SP had opened 14 to 10. SP was 18 to 10, 5 to 2, 22 to 10 available. This horse, and these again, people get this extra stretch on into bet when you can get 5 to 2 about a horse like this. Bear in mind, a British filly by Galileo, 6 months younger.
She looks. I think she's only starting up her engine now left.
Yeah.
She won at Greyville prior to that from a poor draw. She beat a horse that came out to Frank the Form Campanologist. I mentioned in the preview, I think Claire was going to suit her much better. She's a big striding filly, got a great action. And to get 18 to 10 amongst this field, I thought that was a gift.
Yeah, that's right. And the boys are getting bigger odds there. But it certainly looks like, you want a filly by Galileo. They've done so well over here from Igugu and all the others. And this could really turn out to be a real super filly.
I'll suggest she's one to back until she gets beat. I don't know what Mike's going to do with her now. I'm sure now she's won these low division races. It's time to test her against the best. You know, whether she goes up to Joburg or stays down here for our season, which is just around the corner left.
I think that's what might be the plan, because she'll be a bit stronger, and that's what they want. They just want a little bit of time. But well done, Drakenstein. They've got this wonderful filly, and Michael de Kock, Anthony Delpeche seen to advantage there. It's about time we went for a break. Right, welcome back. Current affairs. Well, one race to show you, and the betting world, what was it? Cape Flying Championship. And we saw Via Africa, or Via Africa, it depends how you like to call her, come right back to her best.
About time left. Many people were writing her off after 2 disappointing runs by the general public. I didn't think so, left.
Yeah.
I thought they were good efforts, and one was in the bog. But we'll have a look at this race and see how she comes back to her best.
Just talking, or just watching Duncan Howells talk about it afterwards, and he said it was a great relief for him because, you know, she'd had that lung infection, she had the lung washes, and they believed there was a problem. And Eric's been helping Duncan down there, and they thought this horse was right back to its best. But fillies can go wrong underneath you, you know, and they sometimes never come back to the best. But this filly is a flying machine, and she slaughtered them.
Yeah, she's now a dual Group 1 winner left, and she showed her hand in this race. I thought a fantastic ride by Kevin Shea.
Yeah.
You know, he was getting a few knocks from the punters that I chatted to. You know, whether he's going to keep the ride if she loses after this. But well done to Kevin. Great ride.
Yeah, great ride. Let's go and have a look at this. This is a Group 1 race.
Ready to run. All clear. Racing in the betting world Cape Flying Championship. Cape Royal, very slow in the starter set go. And it looks like he's being pulled out of the race at the back of the field. Via Africa with lots of early gate speed. She goes to the front to set the pace, and Capel Right is going to match her every inch of the way, tacking over to race up alongside of her. Then we find Copper Parade being followed by Barboza, Captain Secret. Divine Jet is sitting on the heels of the early speed. Then comes Zambezi Torrent. Deeper out we got Muscat, and behind that we got Happy Forever. Into the final 400, Via Africa, Capel Right. These two are going nose for nose, stride for stride in front. Happy Forever switching in, so to Divine Jet. Muscat is coming up the outside, 200 meters left to go, and Via Africa gets let loose up the outside. She kicks for home. Down the inside, the 3-year-old Red Ray is on the charge. It's Via Africa with 50 to go. She's staying on gamely. Via Africa beats Red Ray. Tevez flew for third. Happy Forever back in fourth.
Well, what a superb performance. The fastest horse in the country, right back to best. Well done to Duncan Howells. And as you said, people lose faith when you get beat. They're quick to put the boot in. And I could see he was a very happy man afterwards, because it vindicated his belief in her. She was always the quickest around. Bear in mind, we were talking earlier that she might have to go for the computer form sprint. I don't know what they can decide upon. But she lost that to what a winter, you know.
Unbelievable, you know, Lef. She's proved herself against the best. She is the fastest filly around. Maybe the fastest horse over 1,000 meters in the country. And I don't think they need to go for the computer form sprint, you know.
They've done it all.
They've done it all. Maybe the South African filly sprint again. I'd like to see her win that. But well done to, you know, Andre Hopeflish.
He bred it.
He bred it, Andre Hopeflish. I've had a chat to him a few times.
He's a character, eh?
Character. He's got a few horses here in the stable. He was at Clearwood not too long back. I think he had a runner there. Radio Waves, if I'm not mistaken.
People forget that he's tasted huge success. He's won the Vodacom Durban July with Big City Life. He was a partner there with Deacon and the gang. Raymond Deacon and the gang. So he's a bit of a lucky owner and a good breeder by the look of things.
Fantastic. You know, we spoke about Valdera and, you know, what she's gone on to do. And of course now she's, you know, broodmare.
Dee's what a wonderful stallion VAR is, you know. The horse of the year who's now campaigning for Joey Ramsden and the US in Dubai is in Michael de Kock's care at the moment.
Yes.
And that's a racehorse and a half, you know, over a mile. He used to slaughter everything. And they go 5 furlongs. Jeff Woodruff's had a 12 furlong horse.
Winning the Oaks, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. So a superb stallion. You can see from the sales that people want the VARs.
Lef, I have to pick your brains here, Lef. I'm just having a look at the honours roll, and I haven't discussed it with Lef, so we're going to test his knowledge. I haven't been along for this time, Lef. Which is the only horse to have won this race 3 in a row?
I know that because I read the article, Sentinel. You know what amazes me? People talk, just touching on Sentinel for a moment, they say he won 29 races.
Yes.
Did he not count with him for flight? For my book, he won 30 races. He had to share one.
Yes.
You know, if you win one race in your life and you're dead eat, are you not a winner?
No, you're a winner.
Winner. So Sentinel won 30 races. But yeah, Sentinel was unbeatable. He took on Harry Hotspurs and Yatigans and all them. It was a very good article in the paper.
There are a few horses here that have won the race 2 in a row left. You know a few of them?
Eric Sands, the sprinter, was a Flow by You.
Flow by You, 100%. Flow by You is there.
Mike Bass's horse, What a Winter, no?
What a Winter, not back to back. Slavini.
Oh, yes.
Slavini's won it back to back. Cordicelli left.
Oh, yes.
Cordicelli's won it back to back. Signor Amigo.
Yes, yeah, I think it was a Snaith horse.
Laissez-faire. She's won it back to flying to back.
Did she have back-to-back wins as well?
Back-to-back wins. Laissez-faire 2001, 2002. And then if you go somewhere back left, 1976, 77, way before my time, a horse called Free Enterprise.
Oh, yes, I remember I certainly remember Free Enterprise, yeah. James Goodman was doing his second year matric that year when Free Enterprise won it. I remember it.
And the recent winners left, I mean, we know What a Winter has won it twice, but in between Valderra, 2012. Some big names here left. What a Winter, Valderra, Warm White Knight, Rebel King, who's now standing in stud.
Warm White Knight, funny enough, I bought one of Warm White Knight's progeny at the Cape Premier sales. That's very, very interesting. It's a wonderful role and money. You wouldn't mind owning any of those horses.
Left, you know, I'm always like watching the sprint races. I know, you know, everyone wants to breed the classic horse, the horse that wins those big grade ones over a mile plus, but sprint races, the adrenaline left. I love the sprint races.
Yeah, they're out and gone, aren't they? Yeah, so let's move on with the show and let's talk about the Cape Premier sales while we're about it now. Just come back. Firstly, well done to Toddy and Chris Van Niekerk and everyone. It was a wonderful spectacle and they really raised the bar again. They've made it a wonderful sale to attend. They really cater for people and they put us up in fine style. Just to give you the figures, 103 million. That's very good. Yeah,
aggregate 103 million, 25,000 rand left and very few horses were not sold. I just had a look at the thing, the spreadsheet. I think 7 horses were not sold.
Yeah, there was a 572,000 the average. So the breeders who are on there are smiling. The highest 3.2 million. Quite a few horses in that ballpark.
Yeah, 2 horses, 3.2 million. A lot 28. Consigner was Main Chance Farm, bred by Mike Bass, and then lot number 53, Giant Causeway left, Drakenstein. And it was bought by Badgers Bloodstock. I don't know who they are, but those were the 2 lots, 3.2 million, the 2 top lots. Yeah,
and the lowest, there was a 50 grand horse out there as well. But let's just look at the stallions that were firing there. And again, I've written them down here. Silvano, VAR, Trippy, Dynasty, Western Winter and Captain L. And I've listed the last 2, Distorted Humour and Speightstown. These are 2 superb stallions. They fetch money.
Distorted Humour was the one that interested me left, and I took down his figures. Lot 184, 3 million. Lot 73, 2.75 million. And lot 144, 2.5 million. And I think that was expected.
Yeah, with the rand as it is, you know, people wanting to buy top horses. The Distorted Humour and Speightstown got sons at stud. They superstars, you know, really, really superstars. So wonderful that we managed to have them on our sale, and let's hope they come and do it on our tracks as well.
You just spoke about the rand and the value that our bloodstock represents. It's just unbelievable now because the rand sliding down. It's 11 now left. You know, we're going to be heading for 12, 13, I'm sure, in the months to come. That's the talk in business times. So for the international... Let's hope they're wrong, left, because I mean we get to fill up your car these days, left, if you think twice.
Yeah. You know. Well, are you still in that caravan park?
That's why I moved from Pietermaritzburg, left. I'm closer to home. It's another, I think, 15 kilometers less. Helps, left, but yeah, you know this.
It's tough for people out there.
It's tough, left. But the international buyers that come and support our sales. they really get value for
There
money.
were bloodstock agents from France, from Ireland, from the UK, from America. It was wonderful. It was a great idea to have them all there, and most of them put their hands up. I was pleased to see Tom Goff and Angus Gold and Kip and all putting their hand up and buying horses, and it's wonderful to see.
You know, whether they buy or not left, the most important thing is getting the mileage out of influential people, international influential people that attend, because they can go to their respective jurisdictions and spread the word.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them would be underbidders on the sale. We had an IBM from Mauritius for the sale. The guys bought 3 horses, not at the top end. They spent R500,000.
Yeah.
But you know, Mauritius supports our racing, and so we brought the guys in, and they bought 3 horses. Well done to them. They had a fantastic time. They were well hosted by Tom and Amanda, and of course you mentioned Chris, who gave them a great time at the sales and of course at the races. So we'd like to thank them for that, for hosting our guests for this inward buying mission. But it looks like a sale that's, you know, going from strength to strength left, and it could form part of the international calendar with these type of foreign visitors.
Hopefully, in time, it will link up with the Met. There have been problems with the Met moving and RCC, and I think we're going to go back to having it all our ducks in a row, which would be wonderful, wonderful. But a great sale. And just before we go on and look at the Met and the betting for the JMB Met, just to talk about a horse in Australia called Rubik, by Costa de Lago, who stepped out, and the money is poured on this horse to win the slipper. Gone from 10-1 to 7-2. Had his debut run, and it's out of a Rocket Gibraltar mare, and it just trotted up. But the interesting part is it was bought and is managed by David Raphael. Now people remember him for doing the commentary out here for Gray's Inn. Do you remember David Raphael?
Yeah, I would never forget his words for London News.
London News.
London News in Hong Kong. I mean, that's
the pride of South Africa.
Pride of South Africa, and he's been he's been a big supporter of South African horse racing and our sales. I've seen him a few times. He's bought at our sales for his respective clients. And nice to see him and get involved in a horse that's maybe going all the way to the top.
Going all the way, could be anything. So well done to him. But let's talk about the big one. Dee's now going to just run through a few horses for the JMB Met, which comes up this week. And Dee's, we've got the betting. They gave us betting sheets, and these are courtesy of Interbet, so they might be slightly different to some that you see around the country. But Dee's, it was Master of My Fate. Now, 13-5. 26-10, okay, done very little wrong.
Yeah, you know, I think he rightfully deserves his place on top of betting boards on what he's achieved to date. There are many that will argue that he hasn't been tested at this level yet left, but his merit rating, I think, shows that he's now ready.
Yeah, a beautiful, expensive horse by most people's budgets, and an attractive horse. You know, he rings near me at Summerfelt and does everything right, which I obviously doesn't want to see Aldrich again, because that's the only horse that's ever
beaten. James Goodman will.
You'll
never hear the end of that.
You'll
never hear the end of that. Aldrich ran yesterday, left.
Aldrich ran yesterday, drawn one, and it faded up the stretch, but I don't think Master of My Fate will be quick to fade up the stretch, you know, and this is a superb horse. We'll have a lot of followers, and well done to Dennis Dreyer. He's had a wonderful season, hasn't he?
You know, he's had a great season. He goes down with his A team to Cape Town, and he always produces the results. He's got 2 massive horses on the big day, the Mallorca Beach Beauty and of course Master of My Fate. And I just I enjoy listening to his interviews, and the owner, Mrs. Papa Giorgio. You know, she seems to be a really nice lady, and we wish her all the success. And who knows, it's a lovely story about this horse and the way it's come out.
You know, people are quick to say, you know, thank goodness horses don't know what they cost, and you know, you can buy a cheap horse and have a champion. It just takes one horse, as Mickey Goss likes to say. But it's good to see when someone spashes out the money and they get in the dynasty mold, and in the mold of this horse, they've got themselves basically a champion, which is nice to see.
Yeah, and you know, just going back to the Cape Premier Yearling sales, you know, they now got that $1 million race left, which is going to be in 2016, and you know, hence the interest and the added interest, and that's why the percentages are up left.
And Cape Town Book 2, those are eligible as well. So
sure.
It looks like it'll be a good sale as well. Don't miss that.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. But coming back to Master of My Fate left, yeah, I think he's rightfully priced up as favorite, as I mentioned, and we'll see how good he is. Jackson,
top horse
left. You know, we know what he did as a 3-year-old. Came to KZN with a big reputation. We know he fluffed his lines in the July But it was really nice to see him bounce back and win the Champions Cup, I think it was.
Yes.
When he came off that break. Back in Cape Town, he's had 2 runs, a sprint, and of course the Queen's Plate. And one would say that now he's going over his best trip.
Yeah, last year I watched him with the front 3 at the stretch with the front 3 home, and he plugged on. I think Brett Crawford's done a wonderful job with the source, and he's had a wonderful season. He's winning everything in front of him. So well done to Brett Crawford. But let's go beyond them. A lot of people think that a great miler can win this race. Now bear in mind, Cape Town Noir did win the Derby as a young horse. Very good horse.
Very good horse, Lef. Personally, I prefer him over a 1800 meters. I think that seems to be his best trip. Not that he's not effective over 2,000 meters. He'll get the distance, but he seems to be a better horse over shorter.
Okay, I'm right in his camp. I think if conditions suit, he'll be close. Pull me a quick in, and if they're better than him, they'll beat him. But he's a very good horse. Now, White Line Fever's our next one in line. Also a very good horse in his day.
I liked his run in the Queen's Plate lap. He was given a nice prep, and he's a horse that the trainer has won with a horse called Alistair not too long back, guard puller. So
that's right.
Sean knows how to get them to win this type of race. And White Line Fever, I'll give him more of a place chance. He'll be a surprise winner for me.
Okay, and then how about Jet Explorer?
Yeah, you had to like the manner in which he finished in the Queen's Plate. I mean, 400 to finish. I think he was the fastest finisher. Came from a hopeless position, again, I think he'll be running on. Personally, left between Master of My Fate and Jackson, I find it difficult to find any of the balance of the field. Trying to challenge those two.
Sure, bold statements coming from Dees. I think people will be shaking in their boots. What about Wiley Hall? Long straight, top horse on his day. Went a bit early last time.
Yeah, what I like about Wiley Hall is, Samanga Kumalo, and what a fantastic season he's had last season. And of course now he's on the top of the jockey's log. If everything goes well for him, I think he'll win the championship left. And I was disappointed not to see Samanga ride on Queen's Plate Day. I thought that he could get a nod, to go and ride a few of the other horses on the day. Maybe get a feel for Cape Town and then the big race day. It's nice to see him go down with Wayan, as he's picked up a few rides on the day. And this horse, great, that last defeat of his, he was beaten by Talina and of course the stable companion Kalua Castle in a humdinger finish.
Yeah.
I think that was a good prep for him.
Very good prep. 2 more horses I want to ask you before we wrap it up. Yorker, who I was big on in the Vodacom Durban July and didn't get in, but I followed up and he won the Summer Cup. Very good horse from a top stable. And King of Pain. What about those two?
King of Pain, the serious excuses for his last run. I think you'll see him do much better this time around with a bit of luck in the running. And Yorker, if you're willing to draw a line through his last start left, on his big win up in Gauteng, he's a horse that's got a serious reputation. He's above average. I think he deserves a place in a field of this nature. And he should run well. Jeff Woodruff, a master trainer, he's having a good season. I think all the balance of the runners, it's very difficult to select.
They're fighting for third, you believe?
100%. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it, Lef. I think it's a Jackson versus Master of My Fate. It's nothing too inventive on my part. The two horses at the top of the betting boards. I think the bookmakers have, they have little choice when they priced up. But let's not forget that few weeks back, I'm sitting on 10-1 that I got on Master of My Fate left. This horse has been punted. Yeah. He's been punted and he's been shortened after his last win, and dramatically shortened because, that win was exceptional. The manner in which he got the job done after being pushed up and given that a big hike in the middle.
What about Hibri Roy Mudley? He's got a very good horse in Royal Zulu Warrior.
Funny enough, Laf, I watched the repeat of the gallops, and of all the gallops, he was a standout for me.
Is that right?
He was a standout for me. He's going to go into my quartet on the day. I'll definitely be including Royal Zulu Warrior. I suspected that he wouldn't stay beyond a mile, but the gallop that he put up left was fantastic. I really enjoyed his gallop.
Are you going to be at the Met?
No, I'm not at the Met this year. For many years, I'll be missing out this year.
I'll be there. I won't be missing out on that. So there it is. And wonderful, Dees, that you've come in and helped us, because when we get on to your call, we just want to touch about your call. James interviewed a geneticist, a Dr. Emmeline Hill. And just the audio is a little faint. Just turn it up if you can. But we did that. We did that interview down in Cape Town. That's going to be on your call. But before we go, we always got to show you Dubai, and I believe it's Lundy's Liability. Lundy's Liability.
Soft falling rain, the 3-year-old is coming at half-deck. He's picking him up with every stride. Soft falling rain alongside half-deck. He puts his head in front. Soft falling rain is drawing clear. Soft falling rain has won the Godolphin Mile.
Big night for South Africa tonight. One runner here in this race, Lundy's Liability. Here's trainer Mike de Kock now with Alice Plunkett.
Your last word, can he win this?
He's got the ability, you know, he just needs to settle in running. He's his own worst enemy.
He won the race last year. How does this horse compare?
No, he's not quite that division.
So
he's getting there.
He's getting there. And where do you expect the pace to come from? We were worrying there wasn't that much pace in the race.
Yeah, I think there looks like there's two they're going to want to go. We'd like to be right on their heels.
Okay, you'll be up there. Good luck.
Thank you.
Terry Spargo's got the call.
To move into the gate. Ascertain goes in. Tamarillo, the Oaks winner, is loaded away, and then there were 3. Jack Sullivan, Great Exhibition, and Little Jim, the 2,000 guineas winner, waiting his turn to be loaded. Jack Sullivan blindfolded behind the gate. Great Exhibition, representing Godolphin, still a maiden, has raced just twice. A win and a second, and is making his debut on a dirt track tonight. Great Exhibition loaded away. Frankie Dettori has already paid 1 visit to the winner's circle. And Durkin and Little Jim go in. Jack Sullivan comes up. The starter ready. They're set for action. They're racing in the Derby, and Great Exhibition on the fence, just a little slow to go. Lundy's Liability left the machine very quickly, and Petit Paris is rushing forward after the start. Little Jim is 3rd, Tamarillo 4th, followed by Great Exhibition going forward on the fence on the inside of Jack Sullivan, who had to ease out of trouble. Ascertain in the middle, Manhuber wide. Tamarillo goes around the outside, and Festive Style, one of the fillies, drops out to the tail of the field as they make their way past the 1,400 metres or 7 furlongs mark. Petit Paris the leader by a little more than a length. Little Jim is second. Lundy's Liability a half length away, 3rd on the heels of the speed. Tamarillo goes to 4th, and then Manhuber on the outside of Ascertain. 3/4 of a length to Jack Sullivan, covering a little extra ground. Festive Style is second last, and Great Exhibition on the fence, whip the field in. Short of 1,000 metres left to travel in the Derby. Petit Paris trying to lead most of the way, 3/4 of a length in front. The former Argentinian Little Jim has that leader in his sights. Lundy's Liability 3rd, Tamarillo 4th as they approach the corner. Manhuber being ridden on the fence, then Jack Sullivan, Ascertain. Great Exhibition and Festive Style is the last to swing for home. 600 metres left to run in the UAE Derby, and Little Jim lays down the gauntlet to Petit Paris. Little Jim and Ted Durkin take the lead in the Derby. Petit Paris under pressure. Lundy's Liability, the South African, runs to 3rd. Then Tamarillo and Jack Sullivan. It's Little Jim just in front. 250 metres left to go. Petit Paris on the fence, and Lundy's Liability joins in on the outside. Is it another South African Derby? Lundy's Liability joins Little Jim. Petit Paris on the fence. 3-horse war. Lundy's Liability puts his head in front. Petit Paris goes with him. Can't match him. Lundy's Liability. Lundy's Liability beat Petit Paris. Little Jim 3rd. Then Jack Sullivan, Ascertain, Tamarillo, Manhuber, Great Exhibition, and Festive Style.
He certainly fought all the way. That was his first victory on dirt. He has been placed, of course, and as we were saying before, he turns the tables on Petit Paris, and it was all to do, I think, with the pace being a little bit stronger this time.
Success keeps coming to Mike de Kock. Here he is with Alice Plunkett.
Success keeps coming to Mike de Kock. 2 UAE derbies in 2 years. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great ride from Washong. Went to plan, what can I say?
You were a little bit nervous beforehand. You were concerned that he possibly wasn't quite good enough, but he really battled.
They went fast today. They did 2 seconds quicker the first 400 today than they did last time. He was able to settle. It made a big difference.
He really stayed well today.
He did. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
You know, about 2 years ago, no one really heard around the world of White Mao and Mike de Kock. Now everybody knows who those two are. They are dominating the scene here in Dubai alongside Godolphin. But sadly, no good luck for Satish Simar, the trainer of the runner-up Little Jim. He got close, but no cigar for him. There is the winning jockey returning back into the weighing room. And for him as well, Jim, it's a great start of the night that could, as you say, get better.
Well, it could indeed, with Victory Moon later on in the Classic. If he could win that, what a night that would be. But interesting, Richie, that the 1, 2, 3 in this UAE Derby, all Southern Hemisphere horses have won it with the big weights, 59 kilos, giving away weight to the others. It's made no difference at all.
Soft falling rain, the 3-year-old is coming at hard thick. He's picking him up with every stride. Soft falling rain alongside hard thick. He puts his head in front. Soft falling rain is drawing clear. Soft falling rain has won the Godolphin Mile.
Well, here we are at the Cape Thoroughbred Sales, and every now and again someone really interesting comes in to town. And today is no different, because we have Dr. Emmeline Hill has arrived from Ireland, and she's gladly accepted to come and chat to us about the product that she's involved with, Equinome. Emmeline, nice having you here.
Thanks very much. Lovely to be here.
Tell me about how you got to let's find out what Equinome is firstly. I think that's probably what viewers would like to know.
Yeah. Equinome is a genetic testing company that was founded 5 years ago by me in partnership with Jim Bolger, the Irish racehorse trainer and breeder. And we provide genetic tests for racing performance to the international thoroughbred bloodstock industry.
Have you been doing horses in South Africa?
Yes, we have a number of key clients here in South Africa. I first came here about 4 years ago to speak with a number of breeders, and I was here a year or so ago as well. So we've had a lot of interest in our products here in South Africa, and indeed all over the world. We have clients in over 15 different countries around the world, in all of the major bloodstock regions.
Okay, people out there probably say, well, what is this about and how's this going to help us? Genes are what we're all made of, aren't they?
Yeah, so in every single cell of our body we have a complete complement of genetic material that's called the genome. So most people would have heard of the human genome. The horse genome is the bit of the horse that I study, that I'm interested in. The genome is made up of about 25,000 genes, and each one of those genes has a particular job to make a certain protein within the cell. Some of those genes are involved in muscle development. Other genes might be involved in how well a horse can metabolize oxygen to make energy. In fact, all of the traits that breeders select for and have been selecting for in horses in thoroughbreds for over 300 years are underpinned by genes.
All right, let's go back to the beginning. How did you start getting involved in this, your PhD?
Yeah, I have a PhD in human genetics, in fact. When I was doing my PhD in 15 years or so ago, there was no such thing really as horse genetics. So I trained in human genetics, but I always wanted to apply my knowledge of genetics to questions about the horse. I grew up around horses. My family had bred race horses, so I was always interested in applying the new knowledge of genetics to horses, because of course everybody understands that genetics is important in breeding. When anybody's looking at a pedigree, what they're trying to do is to best guess which genes from ancestors in that pedigree have been passed down to an individual. So with that knowledge, I suppose, from what breeders have been doing for hundreds of years, I asked the question, well, if we have this new genetic science and we can actually read the DNA code, couldn't we learn something about the genetics of the horse? So I started on that path, I suppose, doing that research 10 years ago now, when I was funded by the Irish Government Agency for Science, Science Foundation Ireland, to develop a research programme which is dedicated to understanding genes contributing to racing performance in the horse. So the research that I've been doing has been going on for about 10 years. But the whole field changed in 2007 when the horse genome was sequenced. So we now know the 3 billion letters of the genetic code that make up the horse. And my job, and the job of horse geneticists around the world, is to try to understand how changes in the DNA code might have an effect on certain characteristics.
Right. The Irish are famous for their involvement in horses, and probably some of the best trainers, owners, show jumpers, equestrian people come from Ireland. So it's no surprise that you Irish have got involved in this, but are you leaders in the field?
Yes, well, when I started out on this on the research in 2004, I was very well supported by the Irish industry, by breeders and trainers. The very first thing that I had to do, of course, was to gather a sample base of DNA samples from horses that had competed at the very, very top level, as well as horses to compare to that had performed poorly. So in order to do the research that I've done, I depended very heavily on contribution from the industry, and the Irish thoroughbred industry was very generous in supplying me with the research samples that I needed.
It sounds like it's simple, but it's not simple, is it?
It is simple when you when you know what you're
Why
doing.
wouldn't have someone have picked up on this, years ago and started? We're in the sort of electronic age. People know what
Yeah, well, I
they're
think we're in the genetics age. The human genome was only sequenced 14 or 15 years ago. In 2000, the human genome was sequenced. So the technologies that we have now for the horse are really only very new technologies. So we've really only in the last 5 to 10 years had the opportunity to ask these sorts of questions that breeders have been asking for hundreds, even thousands of years. So with the technologies that we now have, we can now interrogate that genome and ask the questions. So they're not new questions, it's just new technologies that we can use to answer age-old questions about the horse.
Breeders have traditionally always worked on genetics and types. They try and breed a type of mare to a type of stallion and try and breed speed to stamina or speed to speed or whatever. Are you now advancing this quite considerably?
Yes, we are, because we can now very accurately determine the type of horse by reading the DNA code. There's a particular gene that's called myostatin that is responsible for the growth and development of muscle and also for the laying down of different fiber types. We started investigating this gene a number of years ago, and what we found is that when we read the sequence of the letters of the DNA code, we found that some horses had a letter T at a particular position in the gene, and some horses had a letter C. Of course, all horses have 2 copies of the gene, of each gene, one inherited from the sire and one inherited from the dam. So if a horse has 2 copies of a C type, it's called a CC. If it has one of each, then it's a CT, and if it has 2 copies of the T type, it's a TT. What we found, remarkably, is that horses that are best suited to sprint-type distances are CC horses. Middle-distance horses are CTs, and long-distance horses are TTs. And we've called this the speed gene. So we can now take a blood sample from a horse, read the sequence of the letters of the DNA code, and make a prediction about the type of racehorse that individual is likely to be. This obviously has implications not just for racing, but also for breeding. So if you have a horse that is a CT type, if I have a mare that's a CT type and I send that mare to a CT stallion, then even though the pedigree page of all of the progeny of that mating, if you repeat that mating over and over again, they'll have exactly the same pedigree page. Genetically, they can be very different because a CC, a CT, and a TT foal can be produced from that mating.
Well, the question that immediately springs to mind is that you send a mare to a stallion year after year after year, and you'll get a different foal every single year. How is that possible?
Well, each individual stallion has 2 copies of a gene, but he'll only pass on one version of that gene to the foal. The mare will also pass on one version of the gene. You can't predict which version of the gene they're going to pass on. So it's always a genetic lottery what gets passed on. But what you can do is that you can then test and see what has been inherited. So it's basic Mendelian inheritance. Only one factor, one part of the gene gets passed on to each progeny, and different variations. I mean, you're absolutely right. You can have full siblings that are very, very different genetically.
And they're more than just genes for speed and genes for stamina and that.
Yeah,
testing?
Yeah, well, first of all, we've been able to catalogue the sets of genes that are critical for elite racing performance. So genes that enable a horse to perform at group level. By reading the sequence of the DNA code across the entire genome, not just looking at a single gene, we've been able to identify sets of genetic markers that contribute to elite sprinting performance, elite middle distance performance, and elite long distance performance. And these are genes that are involved in heart function, genes that are involved in aerobic metabolism, lactate metabolism, and so on. It's the combination of those genetic factors, that genetic package, that contributes to the genetic potential for an individual to perform at a very high level. Of course, it's not just genetics. Genetics plays a key role, but it's not everything, because the management, the environment, and the horsemanship obviously contributes to how well a horse is likely to perform on the racecourse. But we are able to catalogue sets of genes that contribute to the genetic potential for an individual to perform well.
Okay, you've arrived in South Africa, and obviously you're going to be of some benefit to a number of horse people. How would you interact with people, and what people do you need to see, and how can they get hold of you? You know, are you involved here?
Yeah, well, we have clients all over the world. All of the samples that we test are sent to our lab in Ireland, where we do the genetic analysis, except for in Japan, where testing is done in a laboratory in Japan. So I meet with breeders and trainers and owners directly to help them to understand how genetics can inform the decisions that they make. Now, everybody makes decisions throughout the life cycle of the horse, from foal stage to racing stage, breeding, for mares and for stallions. So what we try to do is to help them to integrate this new genetic information into their decision making. In that way, they can use scientifically informed, evidence-based information to better refine the decisions that they're making.
What do you need from the horse? Do they have to go and take a core sample, or is it painful for the horse to go through?
No, we run the test from a blood sample.
Yeah.
So from the blood we can isolate the DNA and then read the sequence of the letters of the DNA code. So it's a simple blood test.
And you guys do you take the blood back to Ireland, or can you get it done here by a laboratory?
No, all of our testing is performed in our lab in Dublin, in the Equinome labs in Dublin. Samples are collected by the owner or somebody on behalf of the agent or the manager working on behalf of the owner. And those samples are then sent to our labs for analysis. We only do testing with the owner's consent, and the results are returned directly back to the owner. Just recently we launched a new website called equinomesales.com at the Gold Coast Magic Million sale in Australia, whereby vendors submit to us in advance of the sale their draft of horses. We run the tests at no cost to the vendor, and then provide that information on a database on our website. That allows buyers to access that information, purchase that information in advance of the sales. We've had a huge uptake in Australia, and this seems to be I think a route forward, at least there's an opportunity then for buyers to access that information before decisions are made. And of course, always with the vendor's consent.
All right, well, the question that immediately springs to mind, I'm a buyer at the sale. I want to now find out about lot 186. What are you going to tell me about that horse when I access your information on paper?
Well, we have the three tests: the speed gene test, if the horse is suited to short, middle, or long distance racing. So that will tell you if the horse is likely to be a precocious type, an early 2-year-old performer, or if it's better suited to the long or the middle or long distance races. We also provide the information for the elite performance test, which will provide information about the genetic potential of an individual to perform at group level. We have a third test now, which tests for projected height, mature height of a horse. And so when a foal is born, you can take a sample and you can, with a very high level of accuracy, determine the likelihood of the height that that horse is likely to reach.
So if I've got a horse in training, I'm a trainer or an owner for that matter, and I think that my horse is a classic horse or a group horse and it's not been racing to that potential, would I be able to give you a blood and you'd be able to tell me if it actually is that type of horse or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the beauty of this is, well, that's hindsight. You've already invested time and effort and finances into trying to figure that out. And what we can do is we can test a horse before you as a trainer start to try to figure it out, so we can provide foresight in those decisions.
Well, and one of the most fascinating interviews I've ever had to do, and Emily, I wish you all the very best here in South Africa and with your travels around the world selling your product. I think it's a fascinating product. Thank you so much for joining us, and everyone knows now how to get hold of you. Equinome.
Equinome, www.equinome.com.
Well, there you go. Go on the website, have a look at this, and this is really breakthrough technology, and we're very privileged on Winning Ways to be able to bring this to you live from the Cape Thoroughbred sales. The thoroughbred breeders have been involved in getting Emily in here a couple of times to try and help them breed better horses in South Africa.